structure.
Record. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Hello.
Hello.
Look at her. She looks like a freaking superstar.
I know, she's so lean.
I'm so tired.
Brooke and I were just bitching about how society has become so selfish and how much, like, she's talking about her sports background has contributed to her self-discipline and how she carries that out in her life. You know, like you were taught at a very young age that things have consequences.
What do you mean? How do those two things relate?
Well, my initial complaint was that I said, I can't believe how lazy, we were talking about how lazy people are, like whether whatever their environment is, a lot of times people just think about like what's easiest for me right now. So like they don't pick up after themselves at the gym. I was saying, like, I clean apartment buildings and the laundry rooms, people will throw the dryer lint in between the dryers rather than walk 5 feet to throw it into the trash. And it just, it's mind-boggling to me.
The irony there is that we're the people who do this stuff for themselves are the selfish ones.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because we take care of ourselves in every aspect of our life. So we seem self-centered. And yet it's like, no, we are also taking care of, like, if I go to the bathroom in a public restroom, I will often find myself wiping the sink with a paper towel to clean up
Picking up the little pieces of paper towel. I do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like not with like what's gross or anything, but it's like if the sink sprays or whatever, like I'm like, yeah.
I mean, it comes down to like, for me, I'm like, if I can make myself, like do the things I have to do to accomplish what I want to accomplish, if there's like even, I have a roommate, I live with Rachel. And if it's like something as small as like, or even in my own bathroom, like if I like miss the trash can, I'm like, I can go pick that up and just, get it done. Like I might as well do it because it's only going to harm me. Or like if it's, in the laundry room, like cleaning out the dryer lint or something, it's only going to like, I'm either going to have to do it later or someone else is going to have to do it, or it's not going to get done.
Right.
So.
It's such a reflection of, I told Brooke, I spend too much time trying to get into the head of a person that just doesn't put their grocery cart away. Like my daughter and I talked about how people will wedge a grocery cart up onto a bank of like grass in the middle rather than just push it over to, it's like it took more work to not put it away, but get it out of the way onto this grass. And it's just like, oh.
It's like when you try and like do something the short way, and like, because you're trying to do it the short way, you mess it up, and then you might as well have done it the right way in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. Laziness it's not a shortcut to success for sure. I'm like, what else we're just like starting out. Well, we start off with like a little bitch fest. Like what?
Always.
Hey, right now I can bitch.
Do it. That's what we're here for, Melissa.
You have to bring something up that I get passionate about because, the wheels aren't really turning on their own.
How is your prep going? How many weeks out are you now?
Today is 3. I compete 3 weeks from today.
So you have officially hit the wall. That's amazing. You look phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it's going perfectly. I mean, I wasn't even going to do this show. I wasn't going to compete until Chicago, which is, I think, 8 weeks from now or 6 weeks from now or something. 7, I don't know. But I decided to do this sooner show because we were like, might as well push it. If I'm not there, I'm not there. But I think I'm good.
So. Nice.
You look good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you look phenomenal. Every time I see your pictures coming up on my Instagram feed, I just admire, and Brooke, you have this too, but you guys are both very symmetrical. Like there's very few, like just from side to side, you have very few imbalances, and it's so, I'm just like, oh, that alone just makes a physique look so beautiful. So
thank you.
You just look awesome. We're very excited for you.
I'm so excited for you, Melissa. I think this is by far your best package. That photo you posted, I guess, today, the mirror photo, I was like, woo, look at her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really young, so I feel like the point is to constantly improve. I understand when you're like seasoned and have been doing this a long time and like Maverick. You like there are years or shows where you'll be better or not. But yeah, as of right now, I should be improving every show.
Absolutely.
Well,
Do you have, I don't know how much of this you can share with us, but are you planning on competing in a couple of different categories or?
Well, first thing, you can't compete in multiple categories in one show at the pro level.
Yep.
Also, no, I decided if I'm gonna do physique, if and when, I'm gonna make sure my intention is gonna be to dominate in the division, and I think I could hang right now, but there's no reason. I don't have any titles yet in figure, and I'm doing well in the division, and I'm gonna take that as far as I can first, really focus on it, and then we'll see from there.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
where my physique falls. That's because I'm kind of like I wouldn't say in the middle, but like either or. Because I mean my waist isn't as tiny as a lot of figure girls, so I really have to create those illusions. And in physique, that's not as much of they're not really going for a small waist, it's overall shape. So
yeah, it's easier to hide too in some of those women's physique poses because you can torque to
yeah.
Whereas quarter turns are, there's no hiding anything in a quarter turn. It's like yeah, it's the true measure of what someone's physique really looks like.
sorry, I'm gonna open the door for him.
Okay. Just wanted to point out that these pictures look so cool.
Yeah, those are awesome.
She has one here. Oops, let me go back to I don't know who did these photographs.
But
Who did these photographs with the Superman, with the Wonder Woman?
his name is Q.
Yeah.
Rachel was doing a shoot with him and was like, why don't you come? So we spent last Sunday, we just shot with him for a couple of hours.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Is it one of the funnest parts of getting lean is doing the photo shoots?
It depends on the day. Yeah. I mean, the pictures are fun to look at after. The shoots are, I mean, it's tiring. It really is. I mean, that was a quick one and it was fun and it was like friends. So it's fun, it's enjoyable. But it wipes you out. It really does.
Yeah. Were you probably down in weight, right? After a shoot?
What is that?
Were you down in weight after a shooting day? Are you usually down?
I mean, that was 2 hours and we didn't do, they get the good shots and
yeah.
So it's not like a huge difference. And it's not like I don't change my protocol to do a shoot like that,
Okay.
So.
Were you going to say something, Brooke?
Yeah, so I think that's kind of interesting. And I think it's a good point. Do you recommend to people to do photo shoots like before they're competing or after they're competing? I kind of prefer to do shoots both before and after because it kind of gives me a little bit more accountability. Like if say you're 8 weeks out from a show, but you're going to do a photo shoot at 4 weeks out, it kind of gives you, you can pick a photo shoot at 4 weeks, right? That way you can kind of have a mini goal and that 8 week time frame doesn't seem as far, right?
Yeah. And then after, definitely accountability there, kind of keeping you from letting yourself blow up too much. I think that's important as well. Now, one thing I did last year that I will never do again, that I know a lot of people do, but I shot the day before I went on stage at Tampa, and it was long, and and you need rest before you get on stage. And that was not a quick, for fun 2-hour shoot. This was like posing and flexing, and it was too much. So that I do not recommend.
Yeah, I definitely never would recommend shooting the day before you're competing. Actually, that like last week, for me, peak week is all about rest, recovery, kind of getting my mind right to compete. Once I'm done competing, yeah, I can go shoot, because you're not as stressed out at that point. Your primary focus whenever you're competing should be that competing. So I don't know how girls actually do photo shoots the day before competition. I couldn't even do that.
This was my pro debut. I was clueless.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll be shredded that day. Might as well. No. Lesson learned.
I bet you were shredded though.
But I was like gross. Like I was like depleted and like it didn't even look, I wasn't full yet or anything. Yeah. And I looked as tired as I felt.
Yeah.
It was not a pretty shoot by any means. So
day after is amazing because you usually you're so full, but you're not, spilled over. You look great because you went out, you got to eat, your body needed all that food, you're relaxed. Definitely, I would say day after, 2 days after having photo shoots is amazing. Yeah. I think it's really smart too, Melissa, to just pick a category and make it yours, really focus on that one. Because a lot of people could probably do, one or the other, or be in a couple of different ones. And you're going to end up splitting your energy and it's going to get confusing, right? Like if they tell you, you know what, you should move into women's physique because you don't fit the figure category anymore, then that would be something. But, I don't think anybody is saying that. Definitely, we want you to dominate in that figure category. And you do have, like you said, you might not have the most narrow waist, but you do have beautiful symmetry, which is such a huge part of figure with those quarter turns. So we're all rooting for you.
Yeah. A lot of people, I was listening to Rachel, she does like posing sessions with her clients. And she said something like most people hate their side shots. I like my side shots better than my front has come along a lot. My back is my biggest critique because of my waist. And the glutes are always hard to get as tight as I want. But I like my side shots, and because I think part of that is I can twist and make my waist look a lot smaller. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for now, I haven't even been practicing my physique posing at all because it is so consuming to do that.
Yeah.
And not really useful to me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your side shots are amazing because you have so much detail with your glute and your hamstring. A lot of people don't have that much shape when you have that side shot. They have more of a straight leg, especially with females. You have really, you have a lot of hamstring from the side. It looks really, really good. A lot of glute and hamstring. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Hey, Brooke, I was going to ask you, so how often are you doing photo shoots? Because you do photo shoots for HD Physiques. Is that like a paid site, right? Do you get money for that, don't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. So I do. And I love doing work for Joe. So I've known Joe, I've known him for years, and I started working with him in 2015. So I've been working with him for a long time. And I know some people have issues with paid sites, and I get it, to each their own, but if you were to go and look at hdphysiques.com, it's not X-rated stuff, it's not, it's legitimate stuff that I'm going to be doing anyway. So whenever I'm training to catch glimpses or like clips of my workouts, I might as well get paid for it. You know what I mean? So, and it's really pretty awesome. Like there's stuff that we've shot years ago and you can still make money off of it now, you know? So I kind of enjoy it. And from like an accountability aspect, I love it, you know, because I do enjoy doing these photo shoots because it helps me stay on track. Now, whenever I'm shooting, like right now, I'm in my off season, so I don't change anything. I'm not like cutting down for a photo shoot. I'm still like doing everything that I should be in terms of eating, water, things like that. And I mean, I shoot with Joe year round, so I kind of enjoy it for myself because it is an accountability thing. But I also think people enjoy seeing that, not even from like people that are purchasing this stuff on site, but like from people that are just following along on Instagram, social media, because they see you do what?
I said, I enjoy seeing it. You look so good.
Because it's like, it's nice to see your physique at all stages. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't want to be shredded year round? Like, people love to see that. And I enjoy whenever I'm like contest lean, but that's just not the reality of it. So yeah, I'll throw like photos on my Instagram of like throwbacks or like contest shape photos. But, you know, I think it's nice for people to see me too when I'm a little bit softer, you know?
Yeah.
Just a part of it. You got to kind of love yourself in all stages.
I'm sure you still get comments even on like your softer pictures where people are like, shred it. Like,
I know, I love it. I'm like, oh, I'm not shredded, but thank you.
That people don't always this to me shows the level of discipline that it takes on the pro level, because I think you definitely have to put on some body fat. Oh, Maverick. But you don't let yourself, like you said, there's that accountability. You're still trying to grow, but you're not getting sloppy, you know, and there's a big difference there. And that I think is like, I've talked about that conversation that I had with Missy Truscott too, where she said, you know, her physique really started to change when she spent, you know, that was that 3-year time period, three or plus years ago, where she had decided, you know, every day counts, whether it is prep or off season, and you know, not calling your off season a break. And you guys are absolutely living that both. I know, Melissa, you always say like you do tend to get bigger in your off season, but you hold it so fantastically. So it's all your own perspective, but from the onlooker's perspective, you both looked fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it gets uncomfortable, but knowing that I'm doing the work, I'm never like sad that I'm not shredded, you know? It's like, I would, you know, I actually don't really like how I look. Well, as of right now, I like how I look right now, but last year I had less muscle. And I was shredded for like 3 months, 4 months, and it felt pretty gross. I felt like a skeleton. I didn't fill out my spandex. There's like a happy medium to it. And even when I'm like totally at like, I don't know if I'll ever get to 170 pounds again, but I've been 170 pounds my off season twice. I know that I'm going to get back. So it doesn't bother me. Yeah, I mean, like getting dressed sucks because none of my shirts fit. I can't, you know, pull it over my back, but you know, you just wear baggy stuff and get over it.
You know, I think there's a difference though too. Like, so whenever you're in contest prep, you have to get to a point where you're uncomfortable, right? So the same thing applies in your off season. You're probably going to have to push yourself to a point in your off season where you are uncomfortable as well. Now, I do obviously think there's a difference between discomfort and just being sloppy, you know, and you do know those types of people that are like, oh, I'm bulking, you know, and they're eating like cheeseburgers and whatever. But yeah, I think in your off season, in order to make the improvements that you need to whenever you do get back on the stage, you have to push yourself to a point of discomfort in that regard too. It may be different, but it's still a point that you have to kind of force yourself to go to in order to make those improvements.
I think a good way to decipher whether you are if you can't already tell, but whether you are sloppy or just actually bulked up and, you know, peak off season, is you should be having the best workouts of your life, you know, pushing weight, having really solid, you know, whether it's hour and a half, 2 hour workouts where you're really able to put in the work. Because if you're not, if you're tired and you're sluggish and you don't feel strong, you're probably not where you need to be. You're probably, you know, too fat or not feeding yourself right, not treating your body correctly. It's not a break from the grind, it's a break from starving.
It's just a different stage at that point.
Yeah. And I'm like really thinking about that a lot now because like Rachel, she had her show like 4 or 5 weeks ago now. So she's, you know, getting ready for the Olympia. And she's pushing serious weight. And I'm thinking back to in February when I got to Dallas and I was also pushing serious weight. And now I'm at the point of my prep. Most days are 0 carb. It's just what works for my body right now. And my strength is much lower and I'm wrapping my head around that. And I'm still getting great workouts, but only because I'm allowing myself to kind of drop the weight off a little bit. And I'm not trying to do something that's going to hurt me. I'm not trying to do what I did in my off season when I had 25 more pounds on me. You know, there's a big difference there. And food in my body.
It's really,
I cucumbers.
I think it's really important for, you know, people to understand too. Melissa, like you're training smarter now at this point. The goal is just to hold, you're not trying to build any muscle. You're holding on, just trying to hold on to the muscle that you built in the off season. And, you know, you're not doing anything, like you said, overly dangerous in the gym. Probably have swapped out even some of your exercises that you were, or at least you'll be getting to that if you haven't already, because you know, there's no need to risk it, you know, or the low rep ranges for that matter either. So.
Right. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah. The training smarter, or the not building right now is something that I recently grasped, you know, because people think, a lot of people who take real off seasons, by real off seasons, I mean, actually like don't bodybuild when they're not competing, they're missing out on the phase where you're actually bodybuilding. Yeah. Because when I've wrapped my head around the fact that when I'm in prep, now you're just taking off the fat. You know, you might be able to put on some muscle, but you really just want to maintain. That's not the time to grow. You can't. It's not going to happen. And if anything, if you are working out as if you're trying to grow while you're so depleted, you're probably going to lose muscle because the recovery is not as good.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you end up missing, you just get more fatigue. It all translates to more fatigue, which is what the main thing is that you want to manage during your contest prep, you know, because if you're not fatigued, you can train harder. You can get your cardio in, you can do all the things. But once you aren't, you know, once you're tired, everything becomes more difficult, as you know, and you don't want that to happen until it is usually around that 4 week, it's like 4 week out mark.
Yeah.
Everything sucks. 4 weeks is like the worst for me. 4 weeks out is when you're like, everything's tired. Your legs are constantly sore. Your body just hurts and you're just trying to like survive at that point.
Yeah. So I train clients in person right now. And, you know, I work for bodybuilders who are, you know, they're really helpful to all of us around our competitions. You know, including my coworkers, where like people are covering my 7 p.m.s right now because I'm in bed at 8. I'm not working at 7. And even, you know, a few weeks ago in the mornings, I was good. And then by the evenings, I was kind of like, you know, really exhausted. now it's like hard to like stand through the day. And you know, I'm still in there doing it and not letting it affect my clients' workouts or my demeanor or anything, but my legs do not want to hold me up.
Isn't it funny that people think, like, why don't you look like that year round? You're like, because I would want to shoot myself.
Right. I would not leave my bed. I couldn't if I looked like this year round.
Yes.
So is there a point in your prep, you know, like we kind of were talking about, you know, you get to a point where you almost feel like you're too depleted and you're just super, super shredded, but you almost feel small. Is there a point in your prep that is like your favorite look? Like if you could walk around like that year round, would you? Like for me, I kind of like the way I look at like 8 weeks out. Like I feel like at that point, I still look real round and full. I don't look as shredded, but I'm still relatively conditioned and lean at that point. If I could walk around, my 8 week out body is kind of the physique that I would choose if I could.
Yeah. I think normally I would agree. I would say like 6 to 8 weeks. This prep was really quick. I didn't decide I was doing the show until I was 9 weeks out. Well, I was 14 weeks out from the other show I was going to do, but then it was 9 weeks out. So this time around, like, say like last week, like 4 or 5 weeks out, I was, when I really started to see the changes happening, that was kind of like, okay, I'd like to walk around like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a good look.
Yeah.
Brooke,
Like still look healthy, but, and functional.
Brooke, I always remember one of the things that you had said too, though, about not getting too sloppy is that you said, I always want to look like an athlete. Like, I want, like, if I say I'm an IFBB pro, I don't want some people to say like, oh, like, what is, you know, like what? Like,
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
You know, that is huge for me. You know, I don't ever want somebody to look at me and say, oh, you work out. You know, I want it to be very evident that I do work out, no matter what part of my prep, if I'm in season, off season, it doesn't matter. I want somebody to look at me and say, yeah, that girl works out. You know, that is important to me. And I think that's more or less like my competitive background just from like playing sports my entire life. But I mean, I do think that that's important. Plus, I train clients as well. And there's clients that I have that are not even remotely involved with the bodybuilding community. And that's fine. They have no idea. Like you could have Bill Heath could be like walking right next to him and they'd have no idea who the guy is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like they don't care. And that's completely fine. I get it. But I want to make sure that I'm leading by example too, you know? So like for my clients, I want to practice what I preach to them. And I want them, if they're like, oh, this is my trainer, I don't want somebody again to look at me and say, oh, she's a trainer. You know, I want it to be like, oh yeah, she does. She looks like she works out. She looks like she would be a trainer. That's just, you know, we're a walking advertisement, you know, for our business. I always want to make sure I have that no matter what stage I am in my life.
It's always baffled me that there are, you know, people who take the test and work at any gym, it doesn't matter, but they get their certification and you would never know that they were a trainer. And it's like, how can you, you know, be guiding someone if you've never been through it yourself, if you've never committed yourself to that? It's the same people who just tell someone to do an exercise, can't demonstrate, can't explain it, none of that. That's just like, why, like, you know, go to the gym a few times yourself first.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, don't use it just to get paid.
You know, and I think that's like a part of the world we live in now, because it is, you can legitimately go online today and become a certified personal trainer, print off your certificate and you're good to go, you know? And I think a lot of people do that. And I think maybe they have that title and it seems pretty neat to them. And I think maybe they will try to advertise themselves on social media to try to make money and gain revenue from that. And that it drives me crazy, but it seems like you see situations like that happening every single day.
Hey, if you want to do it online, you don't even need a certification. You just have to not get caught.
Yeah.
People do that.
Yeah, just don't. I mean, if you get one client who like complains to whoever it is that you can, complain to, then you can get shut down. But if you don't get shut down, you can make a living off of it and never have any credentials for it.
Well, and there's a huge difference between even book smarts and experience. And I always think like a good coach has that trifecta of experience with yourself, experience with other people, and and knowledge that has been learned through their own research or certifications or whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be equal, but you would think if you're passionate about something, you're going to be living this lifestyle to some sort of an extent. Like, it seems weird to be so passionate about something that you want to become a personal trainer, but you aren't really exercising at all. Like, that just doesn't even make sense to me.
I think a lot of times people think that it's an easy way to make money, right? So like situations that we've kind of ran into at the gym is we'll have trainers come in all the time. They'll bring in their resume and that's great. And we'll give them an opportunity to train, but it's like they want to come in there and just leave their cards there and they think that they're just going to make tons of money. And that's not the case. Like, your successful trainers are the ones that are working nonstop, like, so I work at the gym and I'm there for like 12 hours a day. And then after the fact, it's like when you go home, you're still focusing on getting things done for your clients or like programming for group exercise classes, whatever the case may be. It's a full-time job. It's not like I ever just leave my card there and I expect everybody to come running to me. You gotta put in the work outside of that, but I think sometimes, like I said, there's really, from our perspective, from what I've seen, is there's a high turnover, I guess, with personal trainers. We have like a great group of trainers now that are at our gym that have been there for years, but I mean, it never fails. We'll have somebody that comes in and they want to try it out and they don't last long because it's gonna require them to do a lot more work than what they want to do.
It's a terribly hard job. It's so hard it's like, yeah, the best coaches I know have done personal training because you have no idea how people's biomechanics are until you're standing next to them trying to. I remember showing a client, I was like, we were just squatting and I'm like, let's just start with an air squat to the bench. And like, she almost fell over. And I was like, you don't realize how difficult this movement is for people who have never had somebody teach them how to do it. So when you're writing a program for somebody, you're just assuming they know how to train like Brooke or Melissa. It's like, no. Have you seen people work out who have never been taught how to work out, who don't have that natural instinct? It's ridiculous. Like, they need a personal trainer and it's very hard to teach somebody. It's like teaching somebody how to walk, right? Who never walked before.
And then you have, like teaching a squat or a lunge. There are these, I don't know, like people say like, when you lunge, like don't let your knee go over your toe, or when you squat, don't let your knee go over your toe kind of thing. And like you just said, biomechanics depends on the person's body. Everyone's structure is different. And sometimes, when I train people, I'm very specific on form. And specific on form to them. And depending on what we're trying to hit, how we're trying to hit it, foot position, all of that. And some of these people, even people who've had personal trainers for years, they're like, no one's ever told me I could do that before. No one's ever told me not to touch my knee to the floor when I'm doing this. And it's like really surprising to me because it's just like, to me, it just makes sense. It's like you want to do what works for your body, what activates the right muscles. And if you're not feeling it in the right place, then we need to make some adjustments. You can look at it. You can look at a movement and see if it's being done correctly. And someone with less knowledge from the outside might think, oh, that person's doing that wrong, because that's not what everyone says to do.
Right.
But it could very well be what works for that person's biomechanics.
Yeah, like benching, touching, like you don't have to touch the bar to your chest. Like that doesn't work for everybody, you know, like there's all these things, like you said, not putting you're not having your knee go over your toe. That's not necessarily the case for everyone either. So
Especially for quad dominant lunges.
Right.
You have to go over your toe.
right. Right. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. And I that's kind of what deters me too. I mean, I had someone just recently ask me, you know, I have a client, do you do any in-person personal training? And it's like, I've helped people out in the gym. If I see somebody, especially if they look like somebody who's going to be receptive to, you know, like I see people doing RDLs wrong all the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're going to hurt your back. Like they'll reach, you know, they reach forward and touch their toes rather than doing the hip hinge movement, which is what it is supposed to be. And it's like, I'll correct things, but I'm not even comfortable. It's been so long since I've had like a recertification for my PT certification. I wouldn't want to hurt somebody, you know what I mean? So for me, I think people just jump into it way too much, not knowing what they're doing and not realizing that you could really hurt somebody, because this is a huge deal if you don't understand individual biomechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's going good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Deb, it's funny because I actually find it to be more challenging to start with somebody that's never worked out before. Those are always the most challenging clients for me, because it's crazy. We think, oh, a body weight squat, that's easy, right? But with somebody that has literally never trained a day in their life, it's unreal, you know? So I enjoy training clients that have never trained before, because it's like a whole new world for them. But in the same regard, it's very challenging because everything is new to them and their bodies have never done it before, you know? So it's totally different.
And sometimes you have to accept that even through correction, the first few weeks, their form is going to be a little bit off, and they might not get, you know, full range of motion with things like you want them to, but you kind of, you know, you correct it as well as you can, and, you know, not get frustrated that for this set on this day, this is what we're going to have to take for now until we can progress. You know, you modify as much as you can, but it's going to take some time for them to even connect. The initial thing is having them connect to the correct muscle, right? So with whatever form you're using. And then, you know, to me, I love, like, I train both bodybuilding style clients and what we refer to where I work as functional, which is people who are just starting out. And although the functional people take a lot more energy to train because there are those specifics that we have to really go over, it's really rewarding when they're like, oh my God, I've never felt that before. You know, I've always done an air squat, but it's just moving up and down. And now it's like, okay, here's how you connect to, you know, this part of your glute, this part of your hamstring, you push through your heels. And maybe it's not the most beautiful movement at first. Maybe they need to hold on to something, but watching that progression is very rewarding to me.
And
You're right, it is difficult.
There's no ego. You don't have the ego. They're looking to you to help them and they want to learn. And there's something it's just awesome. You know what I mean? It's like you have this trust, immediate trust. And it's like, okay, you're in my hands. I'm going to make sure that you learn something here that you can take with you for the rest of your life.
Yes. And that's one of the coolest things about it, is that no matter how long these people are working with me, how long their contract is, whatever, I know that they have now created a connection with their body and learned how to do a movement. And going forward, every time they do that, they're going to think about how to do it correctly, not just doing it, right? And I tell my clients, like, even if our rep range is 15 reps, let's say, I'd rather you execute as many reps as you can. I'd rather you give me 13 perfectly executed reps than try and hit that 15 just moving.
Yeah. I think
Completely agree.
I think it's important too with like especially newer people to lifting to have, I don't know if you do this when you design your training programs, but less exercises and more reps so that they are working on practicing what those movements look like, you know, because I think sometimes people go too heavy with stuff and like the form's not there yet. They end up getting injured. It hurts. And, you know, I think that's really important to really get those movement patterns down, and then you learn to apply that intensity over time once you're really connecting with the muscle.
One of my favorite things with my bodybuilding style clients, especially the men, is how often I have to drop the weight that they're using, and yet it's so much harder because I correct their form and they're like, oh my God, you know, a 40-pound dumbbell has never hurt so bad for a row. And I'm like, because you're doing it right. You're using the right muscle. You're only using the right muscle.
Yeah.
So it's gonna hurt a lot more.
When it's heavier, people are always like just trying to get from point A to point B rather than connecting with the muscle. It's basically like everything that's in between is kind of skipping what's happening, just like trying to move weight.
Execution.
Yeah.
Overrect.
Yeah. So, and that's not what bodybuilding is. That's why you do tend to have to lower the weight in order to connect better. I mean, I've had that before too, where I'm like, I can go heavier, but I'm not feeling it where I'm supposed to. You know, you get all these, what is it called? Like substitution, the other muscles take over because everybody else needs to help out in order to try to move this weight. And it's like, no, that's not what the goal is to connect with something specific. Yeah. So fun. This is like you did personal training a long time ago, didn't you, Melissa?
I actually got certified when I was 18 for my senior project going out of high school. So as soon as I could, and I worked in a gym before that, and I did a little bit because, you know, you're not supposed to train people until you're 18 and certified. But the gym that I worked at, they let me do a little bit of one-on-one stuff on these. It was like with really old people on these like resistance machines. And my job there was, I started working there when I was 16, and my job was, I started at the desk, and then I would pretty much, it was like a fitness something, and my job was to walk around the floor and rack weights, pretty much. And then they started letting me do this one-on-one with the older people, because I started bodybuilding when I was 16. I had a pretty good idea of what I was doing, so they allowed me to do that. But yeah, I've worked a few training jobs. Last year, I took a hiatus from it during my prep for my pro debut. When I moved from West Virginia to Charleston, South Carolina, I had stopped training. I couldn't do the training at the corporate places at that time. It was there wasn't a lot of structure with it. And, you know, there were no rules about clients contacting you outside of work hours, and I was getting paid $6 per client, and I did not want to talk to them outside of work, especially when they weren't doing anything outside of our sessions. It was just very unrewarding, and I was kind of like, I need to focus on what I'm doing. I was also in school, so I took a break from it. And then when Sarah and Ali offered me this job here, I said, I was like, I don't know if training is something that I am interested in doing again, but I'll come check it out. And I love it. I love it.
Good. Now, so that gym that you're at now, is it open to the public, or is it just personal training only?
It's just it's just personal training. It's only open to the clients in the program. And then people who've done the program and you know, their contracts are up or something, they still have access to the gym. But yeah, it's very private.
I like that.
Yeah, it's an amazing place to be. As you can tell from the stuff I post, there's never anyone, and I train in the morning right now. So there's no one around ever, and it's great.
That's nice.
That's so awesome. You know, what I love about both of y'all is that you are living this lifestyle, teaching other people. And when you're doing this training, it probably like reinforces your own lifestyle again, because you're just constantly living it. Like I was thinking about how some people are like pros in the industry, and I don't think that they really connect with people outside of the industry because they're not doing, like they're just doing their own prep and their own, I don't know, like I just feel like it's a really cool learning experience, and you're kind of building your own environments that are keeping you involved in this regardless of what happens with your competing and stuff like that. So I don't know, I just think it's really awesome.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
You go.
I was just gonna say, I think it's really important, you know, because a lot of people ask me, what's next for you after you're done competing? You know, what are you gonna do? And, you know, fitness has always been a part of my life. Long before I ever even started competing, you know, I was always doing sports, and I always wanted to be a personal trainer. I always wanted to be involved in this industry. So when that day does come that I stop competing, I'm still going to be involved. You know, I'm still going to be involved in the gym. I'm still going to be training clients. I'm still going to be teaching group exercise. I'll still be involved in the industry within the competitive aspect, just maybe in a different regard. You know, just because I changed chapters in my life doesn't mean that I'm going to leave the industry. You know, I love the industry. I truly do. Otherwise, if I didn't, I wouldn't be involved in it, you know, but I love fitness and exercise. And I know I've told you guys this before, but, you know, like I do group exercise classes and I teach group exercise classes, but I participate too. So whenever our instructors are teaching them, I go in there because it's beneficial for me, but I think our members enjoy seeing me actually doing it with them as well. You know, they like to see that, like, oh, she does practice what she preach, or it might be like they just enjoy seeing me die, and I do die in these classes all the time, and that like gives them satisfaction. So, but I just enjoy it.
They like to see you get what you put out. They really do. I get that too. Like when clients of ours see me training, they not only do they say, you know, that's so motivating to watch you train by yourself and see what you do, but it's also nice to know that like we're not the only ones dying.
Exactly.
You're not. You're like, I kill you, but I kill myself too. But
you're creating more athletes and healthy people and bodybuilders that are doing things correctly. And that's what I love, because sometimes people have sort of obscure methods how they got to where they are. And here you are, you know, doing things how, you know, you were taught. It's worked out really well for you, and you're applying that to other people. So you're just like, it's kind of like when good parents have children and then those children know how to be good parents. You know what I mean? Like it's the same type of thing. Like you're growing healthy people all over the place. And I think that's so cool.
And what you said about like being involved with people outside of the industry, I love it. I love hearing, like, especially the people in this program, they are on a very strict diet. They are on a very strict training protocol, cardio, all of it, but they have regular jobs, regular lives. And I love hearing all the different things that people are doing, because I mean, again, I love the industry too, but I do this shit every day. Like, I know I don't need to hear you doing the same thing as me. You know, what else is there? And that's where, you know, it's really amazing to kind of, I'm still doing what I do, but I can get outside of it by having conversations with people who really have no idea about the bodybuilding world. And I'm not sitting there talking to them. I mean, you know, if they have questions, I talk about it, sure. But I get to hear about what's outside of the bodybuilding world, you know, from people who are interested in learning, but I get to learn too, because it's a really niche thing. And there are so many other niches out there. And it's really cool. Like I have a guy yesterday who told me he's going on a retreat with his wife. She plays the fiddle and he plays the guitar. And he said it's a really small world, but he loves being involved in it. And like, that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, I have no idea about that, but that is so cool to me.
Yeah.
You know, I have my thing, everyone has their thing.
Exactly.
What a cute, like cool community that you guys are creating as well, because like you have to be able to be learning from each individual. Like, let's say you hear excuses of why somebody can't do something, and then you think, oh, well, so-and-so does that, and they're able to do this by doing this. Like, you're getting a window into all these people's lives and how they're able to manage fitness. Like you said, Melissa, not just as a bodybuilder, because we see the people who are successful who only bodybuild, you know what I mean? Or they have really great contracts, so they don't have to work any type of other job, or maybe just being online is their job. So when you can find out how somebody is managing, like as a mom or as a teacher, or, you know, as somebody who's in their 70s or something like that, you're learning from each one of those experiences. And then you're able to sort of, I don't want to say like set aside somebody's excuses, but you're able to present ideas on how they can continue being on track with their fitness and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty inspiring too, because every one of my clients, they all have different stories, you know, and they have different circumstances that they're facing in life. And a lot of times, like personal training is like a therapy session for these people, you know, it's very therapeutic for them, and they just naturally will open up, but they don't realize what they're doing for me too, because at any given moment, I think we all go through things in life where we could come up with an excuse for ourselves, you know, and I'll look back at some of the issues that my clients are kind of going through, and I'm like, man, they have no idea just truly how inspiring they are. And they're looking at me as if I'm this huge inspiration for them, but they inspire me just as much, you know. It's so rewarding in that regard, because there's people that, man, they're going through way worse circumstances than I am, and yet here they are, still showing up and putting forth the work. And it's so inspiring, and it's really, really motivating for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I try and iterate it to my clients, but like this is what I do all day, every day. And like we've said, you know, over and over, they're like out here doing diets and cardio and doing their training and living a whole life, like a really full, what most people consider balanced life. And whereas like I don't have balance, what most people would think of as balance, you know, I'm one track, I'm doing what I'm doing. And I just appreciate and really look up to these people who are like regular people still doing all the discipline, and it's really amazing. And I don't think they know how incredible that is, because they do look at us and they're like, wow, you know, you're elite at what you're doing. And it's like, you're elite at life. Like, yeah, you really are.
That's amazing. It's very cool. And it puts things in perspective for you a lot as well, because you don't know what somebody is going through, and most people are doing the best that they can with their situation. So, and things change all the time. I know, you know, Katie Beck, she had a baby, I think he's like 5 months old now, and she was telling me how much she struggles with you know, not having bodybuilding be her life anymore. Not that she would change things because she has this awesome baby, but she's like, now I'm, you know, I'm fitting bodybuilding into my life rather than bodybuilding be my life. And it's a tough transition, you know, to come out of that. I think a lot of people still, you know, it's hard to let go and how to figure out what that balance is going to be. But I'm sure that you see that a lot. It would be interesting, like just a day, just to see all the different perspectives and stories and lives that you all run into. Super cool. Melissa, I've never seen you, like, you look so tired, but when you start talking about your clients, your face just lights up. So I'm so happy that you have found this place where you're just so, you're thriving. That's so cool.
I'm very happy. I really am.
That's awesome. What's the show that's 3 weeks?
Puerto Rico.
Woo! That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I know Puerto Rico is technically US, but I've never gone out of the country for a show before. So I am pumped. I'm really excited.
I'm jealous. That's awesome.
So the only thing that sucks is that I compete on Sunday. It's a 3-day show, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I can't and then I go home on Monday because I have to go back to work. So, I mean, it's like, there's pros and cons to it. I get there Wednesday. I spend my peak week, you know, in Puerto Rico. Not that I can really be outside in the heat that much, but it'll be relaxing. But I can't you know, I can't compete on Friday and then have the weekend to explore Puerto Rico. So whatever, it'll still be amazing.
It will be a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have gotten your feet wet. So you were like, oh, I've been there. Now I can go back for a vacation. I know what I'm doing and where I'm going.
Well, I've been there when I was 12. I've been there twice. We used to go on vacations before 2008, you know. But yeah, I went there. I went to Rincon and surfed once. So
Wow.
love to. I won't be surfing this time around, but maybe next time.
That'd be a great photo shoot.
That would be.
That would be, yeah.
That would be so fake. I don't surf, but I could pretend.
It would be so funny. You just randomly walk up to somebody on the beach. Can I borrow your surfboard for a picture?
They're not going to say no to me. I mean, come on.
I bet they would definitely let you do it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
for sure. They'd be like, that's not how you hold it, or something like that. You know,
I do the whole photo shoot doing it wrong.
just like a prop.
Right.
Whatever, you look good doing it. So
Yeah, it'd be amazing. You guys, the weather is so great now. Finally, I'm just I can't tell you how much sunny weather makes me so happy.
oh,
What's favorite? What's your favorite thing about summer?
flip-flops, blue jean shorts, and bikinis. Favorite.
I think it's just the mood that it puts me in, where I feel like I can be up and out and do stuff. I even notice it's been beautiful weather here, but there's a couple days here and there where it's before a storm or something where it's dark all day.
Yeah.
And I'm just I'm a slug anyway right now, but on those days especially, I'm just I can't do anything. It's just not happening. But I love sunny weather.
Me too.
It is crazy how the darkness just dampens your mood. But to go from, what do we get in the wintertime? We get 6 hours of sunlight to 14 or something like that. It's such a huge difference. It's crazy. You're just I can accomplish anything.
It is hard though, because I'm in bed by 8. Last night I was in bed at 7:30, and it's light. I have my shades closed, but it's still light. And I just have to take
Birds are chirping.
I take NyQuil and some sleep juice, it's from Enhanced, and I take a CBD melatonin gummy and just try and knock myself out.
Meanwhile, like birds are chirping outside the window, like, wake up. It's still light out.
And I wake up when it's dark and it just doesn't make any sense.
I was noticing the other day, because you don't notice this in the wintertime, like you can smell like food grilling and stuff. I love that smell. Smell of like, you can just smell, you're like, oh, someone's grilling steaks or whatever. It just wafts through the air in the summertime. It's so fantastic.
That's like cookouts and the lake or the beach. That all just kind of goes hand in hand with summer, you know. As long as I'm on the water somewhere, that's all I kind of care about. I love it.
Right back. I have to pee so bad.
Okay. Brooke, do you have a boat or something?
No, I don't have a boat, but my friends do. So we are like out on the lake as often as we can be.
Yeah.
You know, and every summer I'll go to the beach at some point, you know, and just spend like a week out there, literally laying out on the beach. It's amazing.
It is so great. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for summer. I'm just so excited. And this is the beginning, right? This is Memorial Day weekend.
Like kicking off this weekend.
Yes.
Do you have any Memorial Day plans?
We are, so my daughter, I think we're going to go, my daughter's boyfriend's family has, in their like little town, they have what is called the Redneck Parade.
Okay.
And it's just like all red, white, and blue. Their red truck, I guess they're putting a tarp in the back and filling it with water. So they're making a pool. It's
that's awesome.
You like decorate your vehicle just all patriotic. And yeah, I'm like, we've seen pictures every year and I'm like, Anna, we have to go. I want to go.
That'll be so much fun. So fun.
Yeah. So, and then we're going to go visit my parents later on that day. We'll have a cookout and stuff like that. So I love red, white, and blue, probably my favorite colors.
Those are my favorite colors. And black, but yes.
But yes, I get so right in my feels whenever anything like patriotic. I just love it.
Me too.
You too?
Yep.
Yeah. I love America. You know, this is like kind of sidebar crazy, but so I was listening to the Dateline murder mystery podcast sometimes when especially like if I don't want to listen to something educational, and they had this story about this girl who was a Canadian journalist and she'd been traveling all over the world, and she was in Somalia, and 4 days into Somalia, she was abducted, and for 10 months, she was like captured, raped, tortured. They had her call home. They had like audio of her calling home. They wanted money, ransom for her. Her parents ended up getting a ransom. Like she wrote this whole book about it. And I'm like, y'all think that it's better somewhere else in the world, and America is like we're the greatest place on earth. You know what I mean? Like, so like that would never happen here. Just would never happen here.
I don't ever have any desire to live out of the US. That's for sure.
Visiting.
You don't think anywhere in Europe would be cool? I'm not well versed on like everyone's governments and everything. I know some places are really iffy. I really wish government wasn't like as big of a problem for like where you can live. It's like,
yeah,
it really does matter.
Yeah. And I think whenever people complain about stuff, I'm like, hey, there's problems with everything. Things could be better. Sometimes it's better, it's better with different political, different presidents or whoever is running the Senate or the House. But we live in a great country. We live in a freaking great country, you know?
Yeah, I can do whatever I want every day, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Except I do not enjoy gas prices right now.
No, what the hell?
So I was at Junior USA's, a couple weeks ago, and my flight got canceled on Sunday morning. So my flight was at like 6:20 a.m. I make it to the airport at like 4:30 and my flight's canceled. I had no idea. And so they couldn't get me on a flight until Monday, but I had to be back in Arkansas. So I had to rent a car and drive back from Charleston back to Arkansas, which is like 13 hours. It was insane.
That's awful.
I never want to do that ever again.
So did you get your flight refunded?
Yeah, I got it refunded, but
How much did it
there's
cost?
such issues right now, like keeping, the reason why our flight was canceled is because they didn't have a crew. They didn't have a crew for our flight, so they canceled it. And flights are just limited right now, you
Isn't
know?
that crazy how they can like set a flight up, have people buy tickets and be like,
Yeah.
oh,
We don't have anybody to fly this plane, you know, no crew. It's crazy to me.
So is this,
You know-
this has to do with like just people not working in general?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, that's the impression they gave me, you know. And I don't know if it was like a pilot issue. I assume they probably have pilots. It's probably like the crew behind the pilots they don't have, you know, they're pretty limited.
Yeah, that's been an issue with I haven't experienced it really recently with flying, but a couple months ago I was on like multiple, I like flew, you know, like 3 times in a month or something, and we sat on the runway for an hour before the flight and an hour after because they didn't have anyone loading or unloading bags.
Crazy.
That was it. And I was like, can we like get off the plane? They made us sit there. One of the times I had like a full-on panic attack. And like I was like I didn't want to make a scene, but I was like, it was like really hot or something. And I was like exhausted. I was like, I gotta get off this plane. And they wouldn't tell us what was going on.
Yeah.
We had no idea. They just sat there and I was like, can you at least like give me some like assurance that I'm gonna get off? Because like right now I feel like I'm trapped. You know, on full flight, like I'm freaking out.
You assume the worst, right? You're like, what, is there a terrorist? Like, why can't we leave the airplane right now? Why can't I be in the airport right now?
One of the times I went to like get up and like use the bathroom, they were like, you have to stay seated. I was like, we're sitting on the runway and I have to go to the bathroom. Like I'm gonna use the bathroom and then I'll sit back down. But like, you know, you're not giving me a timeline and I gotta go. Like I don't know what to tell you. They're like, fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't.
Brooke, how much was that? So like you had to drive 13 hours and
Yeah.
how much, I mean, I'm just curious, like, do you know about what that cost in exchange for your flight? Because it's probably more expensive, right?
Oh my God, I don't know. I haven't looked at like all the receipts, you know, but the rental car itself wasn't really expensive. It was actually relatively cheap. Like I want to say it was $150, you know, and then gas was, I mean, I don't get me started on that. I was spending all sorts of money on freaking gas to get here, but it was probably cheaper than the flight. In all honesty, it was just more of a pain in the butt to have to like drive, you know, and I had to drive back to the Little Rock airport, drop off the rental car. My vehicle was at the airport, so I had to go pick that up and drive back. I was just so exhausted and I had to get up the next morning and make it to work. So as soon as I got home, I literally got home, threw my luggage on the ground and got right into bed. Yeah. It's crazy. But I truly have the worst luck when it comes to flying. The absolute worst luck. I could tell you so many different stories of the craziest things happening. And so when that happened, I didn't know whether to like just laugh or cry because I'm like, of course this would happen. Why would like get canceled? You know, it's like typical that I'd have to rent a car and drive. And here's the thing. So whenever I had to rent a car, I couldn't even pick up the vehicle until 8 a.m. So I've been at the airport for like 3.5 hours at this point because I couldn't even drive, you know? So that was frustrating in itself because I'm like, well, I could have been on the road for 3 hours now, but I've been having to wait here.
That's weird that they wouldn't have, that's weird that they wouldn't have why don't they have 24-hour car rental? That's crazy.
Yeah, it was insane. There was a woman there. She was just not helpful.
Those are my favorite type of people.
I don't know. Well, okay, so whatever, the flight got canceled. So I'm going in, checking in, trying to get like my luggage checked in. He goes, your flight's canceled. And he just kind of looks at me and I'm like, can you book me on another flight? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't cancel the flight. I didn't miss my flight. You guys canceled it. It was crazy. And then he walks away. So I'm thinking he's going to go get help, and then I kid you not. So he's like over and he's like next in line. And I'm like looking over at him like, is somebody going to help me? It was
my God.
I was so
Rachel, she has terrible luck too. Like freaking terrible. That's
just another story to add.
What?
I said now it's just another story to add to the mix.
Yeah. Rachel, I mean, this isn't my story, but Rachel went to the airport. She's had like multiple things like this happen. But she went to the airport. She was going to like a guest posing or something. And she gets there and the woman was literally said to her, she got there like an hour and a half early. The woman said, oh, you're not like where she checks her bag. She said, oh, you're not going to make it through TSA in time for your flight. And Rachel was like, what do you mean? And she said, you'll just never make it. So I'm going to cancel your flight. And without her permission, she canceled Rachel's ticket.
Oh my gosh.
And then Rachel was like, so Rachel went to leave and she looked and there was like no line at TSA. And so she went up to the woman and she was like, what is your problem? Like, why would you do that? And the woman like wouldn't help her. She didn't apologize. She was just like, I can, book you for another flight or something. And she was just like, what in like, who?
Oh my gosh.
Like totally unsolicited. Like that's up to, like, if I get there 30 minutes before my flight and I want to try and make it, that's my problem.
Yeah.
Just these people, wild.
I would have like hit someone I would have been like, what just happened here?
Right. She was so angry. She just like,
oh yeah.
Home. I was like, what are you doing home?
Wow.
That like makes no sense at all. That makes no sense. Like, yeah, I would have gone to like full Karen.
Right.
Where's the manager?
I was like, did you ask for the manager? And she was like, no, I was so mad and so upset. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then you get angry for like, people think it's like, you're just going crazy. You're like, no, like that's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to me.
Yep.
All right. What are you, all right. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for.
I'm grateful for my health. I think especially like seeing what's been going on in our industry here, like recently, I truly try to be mindful of that. And I'm grateful for it. So sometimes things might not be going in the way that I want them to, but I am healthy and I'm forever grateful for that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm in physical therapy for my shoulder, which it's been, oh my gosh, it's been so annoying. And then last week, it's been like almost 2 weeks, I hurt my knee. And so I was like, great. Can I train upper body? No. Can I train lower body? No. So I went to see my doctor. He's thinking that I should probably have surgery. And I just stayed off my knee for about a week and a half. And it's better now. So my biggest frustration with training is testing out exercises, but then not always knowing, because things can feel good when you're doing them. And then the next day you're like, oh, that was probably not like the best thing or whatever. So Melissa, are you getting bad news?
I keep getting this notification telling me to enter my password for something. And when I click it, it doesn't give me a place to enter my password, but it keeps coming up. Fine. I'm grateful for the internet and the ability to talk to you guys online, regardless of this. But Yeah.
So anyways, that's what's going on with my health and my training, but I am a healthy person, and sometimes you just have to be forced to take little breaks, and you feel like you're losing all your muscle, but it's all whatever. It's fine.
Laugh so you don't cry. It's fine.
Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh. I did want to say one thing I wanted to ask you guys. Does Instagram just not it freaking sucks right now? Does it not? Like the visibility and all that stuff? Like,
Sucks. It sucks.
okay. It's not just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like random posts that like get more engagement, but for the most part, it's like it just sucks.
Like a third of the views of what you would normally get.
Yeah, I have some days where my stories get like more views, but like most days it's like I have like 100 something thousand followers, and like I'll get like 2,000 views on my stories some days, and I mean it doesn't stop me from posting and it doesn't bother me, but I'm like,
yeah,
why not? Apparently they think that we're like bots, but then I have like bots commenting all over my stuff, and I block and report them, and then I get a notification from a review and it says, we found nothing wrong with this account. I'm like, so what's wrong with mine?
yeah.
So why are you blocking my stuff? But
It's
whatever.
I'm like, what? I don't know. Like, Melissa, I see your stuff. I have to, like, Brooke, I have to look for your stuff if I want to see if you post anything. Sometimes I see the stories, but then I'll be like, I haven't seen this person in forever. Some of the people I always see. And it's just like, I don't know. I thought they had made a change where you were supposed to be able to see everybody's stuff now. Like, I thought that was something they were reinstating. Obviously, that's not the case, because I'm like, I follow like 600 people and I don't see all their stuff. So, and I know mine's not getting seen because it's just not, but
You like the same people over and over.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's a good time for a break, I think. Are you spending less time on social media now, Melissa, that you're in the midst of this, like in the thick of
So how I use it, I post stuff because like now like I have like more, well, I mean, I always kind of just like I post whatever. I'm not really that strategic about it at all. But I post, whether it's a story or an actual like grid post, and then I get off of it, same way as I've been for a while. I really I don't get much out of like scrolling. It doesn't really hold my interest. It's nothing personal to anyone. Like and like the people who come up in like the first maybe 10 posts or something, I'll like stuff and I'll comment on something if I'm on it, but for the most part, I don't really engage a lot just because it's a lot of like effort, and I feel like you have to like really like it's tough because like I don't want people to feel neglected or that I don't appreciate their engagement or anything, but I hope that me continuing to post is enough to like make people, like I know you want to see this, so I'm sharing. There's literally no other reason for me to share, but I'm just like, I don't really care to interact.
I don't think you should be a slave to it. You know what I mean? Like I think it's pretty ridiculous. And I think a lot of people have it running their lives. And like you said, spend hours scrolling, looking for some, it's like when you open the refrigerator looking for something, even though you're not hungry. It's a very similar type of a reaction. You're looking for, like feel like a lot of times, like, well, if I get on and start scrolling until I see something that pisses me off, and then I get off social media, and then I'm in a bad mood. So it's like, what are you actually looking for, So
yeah. I mean, I have days where I don't go on it at all. And then I have days where I'll post 3 things in 3 hours, like It just isn't that, you know, and then people are like, oh, like if you were more structured about it, you could monetize so much. I'm like, yeah, I'll do fine without it. Like, I know that if you have a larger following, you're considered like an influencer and you can get these benefits and stuff, but it's just not something that feels natural for me to lean into. And so I'm not really interested. It's just like anything else that I've tried to do in life. If it takes too much force, if it's just not something that flows with my day and what I want to be doing, then why give my attention to it? You know?
I mean, what are you gonna say? Like, social media really isn't a priority. Like, great. Like, that's a good thing, right? I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we have done a couple of things about contest prep. Brooke and I were talking about contest prep, and we've had a few contest prep series. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that I think before we get going, but what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see people making with contest prep? I was thinking about talking more about contest prep on the pro level, but I think it's more relatable to talk about it from an amateur standpoint, because you have to get past that point in order to get to the pro level. And there's a lot of mistakes I think that people make. But I'm just curious, like when you think about that, because I know you guys go to, Brooke, I know you especially go to a lot of shows. I was going to quick mention that I had the opportunity to MC at the last, at the Grand Rapids bodybuilding show here. That was kind of a fluke thing. The head judge got pink eye, and his wife usually is the MC. So they decided to not come down. So they needed somebody last minute. And I wanted to say thanks to Natalie Abraham. She's a bikini pro who lives in Michigan, who had recommended me because she's been on the podcast before. So that was really cool. It was a really, really great opportunity, but it's been a while since I actually been to a show, and it just made me think about a lot of people, and it happens on the, you know, on this like a national qualifier type of a show level, but a lot of people are not actually ready for a stage. Like they just aren't ready. And I was thinking, like, why does this happen?
So that really goes hand in hand with what I said about training with execution over hitting your rep range number. Mm-hmm. Here you have a date set in mind. So even though you might be not doing what you need to do, or your body isn't where it needs to be yet, you said you were going to hit this date, so you do it anyway. Instead of executing properly and then maybe pushing back if need be. I think a large problem, especially on the amateur level, is going, well, pro level too. People just, and we've talked about this before, people doing shows without making necessary improvements, regardless of coming in tight enough, lean enough, anything like that. They do shows just to do a show, or just to get on stage again, or just to get on stage in the first place. Mm-hmm. And I've always said, you know, if you're competing on the amateur level and it's just a bucket list thing, you just want to look the best that you've ever looked and you want to put on a sparkly suit and get on stage, it's cool. But if you think this is something that you want to do and you want to accomplish things through bodybuilding, you can't just keep getting up there. I mean, sure, they'll take all your money. It's expensive. But my recommendation is to make sure that you are ready when you're up there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be forced.
Well, and going back to being ready, I think a lot of people underestimate how long it takes in order to get ready, and what that feels like. Because it's kind of like when things get really painful, is when they are at their ready point, and it's like that's just the beginning of, you probably have, you know, 6 more weeks or 8 more weeks, you know, because it's when things start, like, oh, your mom tells you you're looking skinny, or your face is looking a little bit skinny, and yeah. So I don't know if people just are, I think a lot of them underestimate how much body fat that they have to lose, and how much time it's going to take for them to get what is stage lean versus what is like good for a photo shoot or something like that.
For sure.
I think it kind of like, I see both ends, I guess, you know, like you're competing on the amateur side for a reason, because you're an amateur now. I do think at some point you have people that they compare themselves to pros. And I'm not saying like, don't look at your favorite pro and be like, man, I want to be at their level one day. I'm not saying don't do that, but don't hinder yourself where you're like, I have to get to that point from a physique perspective before I'll ever even get on stage, you know? So I think like the first time that you step on stage, I know I look back at the first time I ever stepped on stage, and at that given moment, I was in the best shape of my life. But now I compare the two physiques and they're completely different. However, I never would have wanted to tell myself at that point, don't step on stage, right? Don't step on stage until you're at the point that you want to be, because I would have probably never stepped on stage if that were the case. And at that point, obviously, things could have improved. You know, I could have been leaner, I could have had more muscle, but I think there's kind of like a fine balance, like step on stage at your best and then gain the feedback and make progress. So the next time that you do step on stage, you're gradually improving. You know what I mean? If you're not improving to some extent, you probably need to kind of like take a step back and, you know, adjust some things and maybe take a little bit of time off from the stage, go into an off season if needed, you know, and then that way, the next time you do step on stage, you have improved, you know. But you do have some people that I know here at the local level, you'll see the same men and women doing the same like show every single year, and they really don't make any changes, but they just enjoy it. Like it's right here, it's local to them. They enjoy getting up on stage and doing their thing. And I'll be honest, I'm all for that. But if that is what it is for you and you enjoy it and you never have any intentions on making it further than that, more power to you, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it's important to understand what someone's goal is and what their background is. So I think one of the biggest things that people don't realize is how much, I think that they don't realize that I guess my piece of advice would be that you should have a year or 2 or 3 years of bodybuilding, of actual time that you put in building muscle before you decide to do a prep. Because when you start dieting and the body fat comes off, I think it's kind of shocking sometimes to recognize like you thought that you're not nearly as muscular as you thought you were. And even in especially now, all of the categories are quite muscular. You know, when you look at like, I think I said this before, Lorelei Chap, who is a little bit taller. I think she's like 5'7", but on stage she's 130, 131 pounds and has no body fat on her. That's a lot of muscle. That's a lot of muscle. And I think people underestimate, even in the bikini division, how much muscle it takes to actually look good on stage, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I got like pretty lean, when I was 19 for a show. I was really surprised at, how little muscle I had. I mean, you know, you could see the structure was there, but you know, I posted a picture 6 years apart, a few weeks ago, and it's just the mass. I mean, of course, then I was amateur and now I'm pro, but I also, like you were saying, Brooke, when I decided it was time for me to compete again, I said I wouldn't compete till I was ready to go pro. And I did go pro that year, However, I didn't look pro yet, you know? I mean, I looked the best. I was the best amateur up there, but I knew I didn't do a pro show that year because I was like, I couldn't hang with the pros. You know, I got my pro card, but I can't hang yet. I'm not pro level. And you know, that's where it comes in that you're right. You don't have to wait until you look like a pro, because if you look like a pro, you're probably not going to do well on an amateur show anyway. You need to leave that room for improvement and to receive feedback. You know, I mean, if you're building to what you think is the pro level and you haven't ever gotten feedback from judges, how do you know what you really need to do with your physique? So
for both of you, what was do you remember what your stage weight was when you first stepped on stage? And then versus like, you know, recent years, your weight was stepping on stage about?
I was like 100 pounds for the first time I ever stepped on stage. And now I'm like, I was 133 at the Olympia.
And you're 5'4", right?
A 5'2" and a quarter.
5'2". Oh, Yeah. Okay.
When I was like 17, I did bikini. I think I was like 127. And then skip ahead to the year I got my pro card, 2020, I think I was about 125 or 127 again, around there. Last year, my pro debut year, I was 134 on stage. This morning I was kind of dry, but I was 140. And so probably be about 138-ish on stage this year is what I predict.
Yeah. I mean, how tall are you, Melissa?
I'm 5'3".
Okay. See, and you know, I am 5'4" and 3/4. Like I'm almost 5'5" and 3/4. And I was 121 pounds when I stepped on stage for, you know, women's physique. So obviously, like somebody my height on the pro level is going to be 30 pounds heavier on stage, you know? So, you know, I even thought I was like pretty muscular, but it's like, you are so tiny. And I don't think I could have been 5 pounds, probably more conditioned than that even. So, you know.
And I know you guys both know Marissa Andrews. We were talking about how when, you know, in order to be stage shredded and look good, you have to look like a normal sized person while shredded. So of course, if you look like a normal sized person, if you have so much muscle that you're normal size when you're shredded, of course, when we put on any weight at all, we feel huge. And like our weight is like, how are you 5'3", 165 pounds, you know? Like, but it's because you do carry so much muscle.
Yeah.
And muscle's heavy.
Yeah.
We're big girls.
She was handing out trophies at the Grand Rapids this weekend. I looked over at her. You know, it's like, it reminded me of when you were a kid and you saw your teacher at the grocery store. Cause I was like, where do I know this girl from? I'm like, oh, Instagram. Like, I know her from Instagram. She's a doll. Like she is the sweetest, most positive. Like I love her. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. I saw her, we had not met or anything. She was handing out trophies and I like held up, like she was behind me and I like held up my phone like I was going to do a selfie and I look at her and she just like snuck into it. And like, that was how I met her. She just snuck into myself. I was like, I want to get a picture. I wanted to get a picture, but I didn't even say anything. She just knew exactly what to do. I was done.
Those are my friends.
Yeah. She's so sweet. She's so sweet. So
she's someone who like, she's like confident as hell. And I love it. Like it's like shameless. It doesn't hurt anybody. It's just like,
yeah.
she's like, I'm bad and I'm, good at what I do and I'm going far with what I do and I look good doing it. And she's just in all of her phases, she's someone I really admire.
Yeah. The confidence was great. I mean, so I go up to her and I was like, I think I messaged you about being on the podcast. And she's like, oh, I don't always see my messages. She's like, here, where's your phone? She's like, just call me. Then I have your number. She's like, and then she replied and it was just like, she's like, I'll just give you my number. That way you can get a hold of me about doing the podcast and we don't have to. Yeah. She just had she has an awesome vibe. Like, you don't always get that around people. She's like super confident. She's very, very sweet. She was very, very positive to everybody. Like, great person, really, really great person. Yeah. Do you?
There are a lot of those around here.
Yeah.
In the industry, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, we have a great industry here, don't we?
So.
Yep. Melissa, what's your next meal? As I drop my phone.
What or when?
You got to have one coming up, don't you? What is it? Yeah. What is
My
it?
meals right now are protein and cucumbers, and mushrooms. Mushrooms are like my filler food right now.
Mushrooms?
Yeah, I use it as like filler.
Do you cook them or are they raw?
I air fry them. Like Sam's or Costco has like these big things like this big of mushrooms, and I order a lot of mushrooms and cucumbers throughout the week. They sell like the long English cucumbers in 3s, and like I'll order my food for the week, and it's literally like I get frozen shrimp, I get chicken breast, egg whites, cucumbers, mushrooms. That's it. And I season with mustard and hot sauce, apple cider vinegar, and stevia. And I'm just keeping it really simple right now. It tastes good. It's easy. I was doing asparagus and stuff, but it's just like less preparation,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just making it like mindless. And I'm not even like I have like some of the flavor gang sauces and stuff, but at this point at 3 weeks out, I'm not using that stuff. I'm just keeping it simple.
Yeah.
And not really, it tastes good, but I'm not like, I need to enjoy this thoroughly and whatever. And I just drink. Yeah, I drank a couple diet sodas through the day. And like today I'm drinking 2.5 gallons of water. And so there's not much like time to consume otherwise, because I always have something in my mouth. And I have my nicotine that is often frowned upon, but I don't really care. It tastes good.
I was at Aldi yesterday. I had not been able to find chicken anywhere. I got some at Walmart like a couple weeks ago and I put a bunch in my freezer and I just hadn't been able to find, like, the grocery stores are like bare. I don't know if you've noticed that at all. But anyways, I was at Aldi and they had chicken. So I bought like 5 of the family packs. I'm like, I don't know when this is gonna happen where I'm like, every time I go to the store, they don't have chicken. So I'm like, I just spent like $60 on chicken.
I heard that was gonna happen and it just like it hasn't done that here. It's been fine, or at least Costco always has it.
I don't have a Costco membership, so I don't know about, I'm not that bougie. I'm just kidding.
Well, right now, so like before when I was eating more variety, I wasn't shopping at like Costco or anything, but right now it's like I'm eating the same thing every day and going through so much of it that it just makes sense to buy it in bulk. It's like 3 cucumbers are the same price as 1 at the grocery store. So whatever, I guess it's bougie, but
Hey, so I have a question. If you had to go commit a murder with any one of the three of us on the podcast, who would you choose?
Melissa.
I would choose Deb because no one would ever suspect you.
Oh, that's true. That's valid. That is true.
Why me, Brooke?
Well, because I'm like, I feel like you cut somebody.
I might. If I had to, I mean.
But I might need to change my strategy because that's very valid. Nobody would do Deb. Like, Deb wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you got to think about more than the crime itself, but
Yeah.
after the
That's
fact.
true.
You guys
You're
are,
right.
you're like, she was in church.
Right.
Yeah. Got an alibi. Yeah, I didn't think that through. Okay.
Really funny. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about I was listening to Fuad's podcast and he was doing the fuck, marry, kill. And I was thinking, but I wouldn't want to kill any one of you. So I was like, but who would I use to go kill? Like,
Who would you?
who
would
would
you
I use?
I'm a terrible liar. I would get caught immediately. I mean, I would, if somebody, oh my gosh, I'd just start laughing, I'd get caught.
yeah,
No
that's
way.
like
You would
I'm
laugh
not.
after you murdered somebody, Brooke?
Well, like I have issues like, so I make up stuff all the time. I've done this since I was a kid. So like, I am great about, like, for example, I might be at a restaurant and some guy will say something about Tom Brady. Like, okay, I did this before. And so this guy is our waiter and he's talking about Tom Brady and we're at the table with a group of friends. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so odd. Tom Brady is his second cousin. You know what I mean? Like, so I can bullshit with people like that. And I do stupid lies like that all the time. And some people know that I do it and they're like, are you messing with me right now? Or is that true? Because sometimes whatever I'm saying is actually true, but they don't know if they can believe me because I've messed with it so much, But if somebody were asking me if I like,
If you
when
really
it comes to real stuff, it's like I like giggle and I laugh because I can't lie, unless I'm kind of like bullshitting with somebody. I can.
like there's no way I would pass a polygraph test. Like I'm not that. I wouldn't. Yeah.
I think
I don't know,
if I were to take a polygraph,
Wait, what?
polygraphs make me nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. Like somebody said to me, I don't remember, like people were talking about sweating in the gym. And I was like, I don't really sweat when I'm working out. Like I sweat in like a job interview or like going to teacher conferences for my daughter. Like
Yes.
formal situations make me sweat, but like I don't sweat. Because people would say like, oh, why do you have makeup on or whatever when you're training? And like, how does it stay on? And like, because it's good and it does. I don't know.
Well, if a cop is driving behind me, I get nervous. I'm not doing anything wrong, but if that cop's behind me, I'm like, oh my God, don't freak out. It drives me crazy. And I'm like, Brooke, you're not even doing anything illegal. You're driving, you're good, but I'm still nervous.
That doesn't make me uncomfortable because we always have like my one car has like USA and like love the police bumper stickers and stuff on it because it's my crappy car. So I have bumper stickers.
Another reason they never suspect you.
Yeah. Never. If they pulled me over, I'd be like, I appreciate what you do. I'm sure I did something wrong. Let me know what it is. I got one time, this was in 2014, I think it was, I had gotten fired from my cleaning job because I had it out with my boss. She was horrible. She was a horrible human being. And I was driving. How you're just like so in your head having like the conversation and I can't believe what just happened. And you go and you're driving and you're like, how did I get here? Like, you don't even remember driving that space. Well, I was at a four-way stop. What I thought was a four-way stop, but it was a red light. And so when I got to the light, it was red. And then I don't know, I guess I thought the other car went. And so I went and there was a cop car on this side and I went through and he like pulls me over and I'm like, he's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, I have no idea, you know? And he's like, you stopped at that red light, but then you went through it. And I was like, he's like, we all just watched you. Like, what's wrong with you? And I was just like, oh, I'm like, I thought it was a 4-way stop. I guess I thought it was blinking. And I was like, look, dude, I'm like, I just lost my job. My head is not where it's supposed to be right now. And he was just like, oh, I'm really sorry. And he's like, well, nobody got hurt. It's you know, it was what I was like, I wouldn't have gone if I like saw somebody going through or whatever, but yeah, totally not. So I ran the red light, but not really. Whatever.
Not intentionally.
No, it definitely was not. So he was very kind. I think that's the last police encounter I had since I was like, I don't know, 18 years old for speeding or something. I got one speeding.
Which one of us would you commit the murder with?
Well, now that Brooke says that she can't lie about stuff. Kira would definitely cut somebody.
She'd be good, yeah.
Yeah. She's got that. I don't know. Yeah, you think Brooke is too nice. Melissa, I mean, not right now because you don't have the energy to do shit, but you would drive the getaway car, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I might run a couple red lights, but
I don't know. It's good. Yeah, probably either Melissa or Kira. Kira, I think Kira has probably already killed somebody. She just, I don't know.
You're not like, no, I'm kidding. You're like, I don't know what's possible.
I don't know. Yeah. Kira's got some, she's like, I've got stories. And I'm like, I know you do. I mean, she basically married a woman, but she's like not a lesbian. So Kira doesn't care about rules. You know what I'm saying? She's doing her own thing. Milkshakes or ice cream?
Ooh,
Ice cream.
I love both, like passionately. Like I love ice cream.
I love ice
I've
cream.
never had Talenti.
What'd you say?
Talenti gelato.
Oh,
Like at the grocery store.
Oh, yes, I have had that. Delicious.
So good.
really?
So good. Game changer. But then, okay, one of my favorite milkshakes or ice cream is McDonald's vanilla milkshakes and vanilla cone.
I
Oh.
do like a vanilla cone.
Really good.
Yeah.
It's
Or
the
like
spot.
custard. You ever had Rita's?
Oh my gosh, frozen custard, yes. Love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was at McDonald's. It was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I said we were like, we came back for one of Anna's track meets. And she was like, I want to go to, I don't know, it was like Burger King or something. And I was like, I want a McDonald's ice cream cone. Like, that's all I want. And then we went there and there was like 12 cars. And I was like, never mind. Like, I don't.
It's a sign. Don't do it.
I was like, fine, you can have your, then we went through Burger King and I was like, oh, they have vanilla ice cream. I'll get a cone here. It's total shit. It was
Trash.
It was like that where it's like almost clear, you know, where it's like low fat something. No.
If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right.
For sure.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna do it right, it should at least be vanilla protein, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could have, a vanilla protein shake would have been better than that Burger King trash. It was trash. I was like, that's why there's nobody in line here, because they suck.
You guys ever drink sugar-free syrup on prep?
I do, yeah.
About right now. Like, I'm like about to get the bottle and just.
Well, my friend Kelly, when she was in prep, was like literally doing a shot or two a day of the Walden Farms She just was like, I need sugar. Yeah. That's like, Melissa, like what you're doing, adding the stevia to, because you want to have the salty and the sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like it brings down like it like balances like the hot sauce and stuff. And I have like vanilla stevia that I put in my coffee.
Mhm.
And,
How many coffees a day are you doing right now?
I do just
IV.
I mean, probably the equivalent of 2 in the morning. I cut my caffeine, so this has been a really difficult adjustment, especially when I work later.
Mm,
But for the sake of my sleep, I cut my caffeine by 1 or 2 p.m.
yeah.
So I'll do coffee in the morning with my first meal, and then I lift about an hour after my first meal, so I'll do pre-workout then, and then after with my after my post-workout meal, I usually have my first client at 10. I'll drink an energy drink at 10 or 11, and then I might have another one around 1, but I really, if it's 2 and I haven't had one, that's too bad, because it's really made a huge difference in my sleep. But afternoons are difficult because I get up at 4 a.m.
Oh.
So I'm up at 4, in bed at 8, and after like 1, it's pretty rough. But like on a like today, I don't work on Sundays, so I was like, there's no reason for me to have an energy drink. I'll do an extra diet soda instead or something if I want, something sweet or filling. But I'm just trying to be like smart about it, because I've done it where I'm just like, whatever 0 calorie I can put in my body is going in my body all day. I'd have coffee at night, but
That first, when you crack open like a Bang Energy, that first drink, that first sip, it's heavenly.
I just ordered the ghost Swedish fish flavor.
The red.
drinks.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
they have a few different red ones, but they have a Swedish fish flavor, and it's different. It's so good. So highly recommend that.
yum. I'll have to try that one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'll just eat some Swedish fish.
Deb, we can't all just eat Swedish fish when we feel like it. So I'll have to drink mine.
Hi, I'm retired.
At least you still look like you work out.
Sort of. I do my best. All right. I think that was the last thing. Let's see here. Melissa, what is the hardest thing? Well, I'll answer this. Like, what is the hardest thing that you have to do when you're on prep, like that you hate doing, like household chore or something like that?
Cleaning.
Yeah.
Cleaning in the kitchen and stuff isn't so bad, but my room, there's a couple boxes that my dad mailed me after I moved, of some of my stuff that I still haven't opened because I got them like 3 weeks ago or something.
Yeah.
And just the effort that it takes to like put stuff away. Like even when I do laundry, like I'm dumping it on my floor. Like my bathroom sink just like has all my products on it, like caps everywhere. I don't close them, just like, I mean, and it's frustrating because it like feels chaotic.
Yeah.
And I know it would make me a lot more comfortable to have a clean, tidy space. But I can't get myself to do it right now. And I keep, like, I'm doing like little things, like today I washed like my bath mats and stuff that have like dog hair and they're like, water and stuff all over them. So that was an accomplishment.
Good job.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, while I have those in the wash, I should probably clean the bathroom floor, but my bathroom has my shoes all over it. that I haven't put up in the closet. There's a suitcase on the floor. And so we're just gonna go with clean bath mats for now.
Baby steps.
Totally.
Laundry is like my albatross always. I hate it so much. I hate doing laundry so much. I can't even express to you. So when like prep, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been in prep, but I do remember a picture that I had posted on Instagram of my back in my bathroom, and someone made a comment about the pile of laundry, the laundry basket mounding up. And I was just like, you don't even know, because I don't like doing laundry when I'm not in prep.
No, and then there's the frustrating part of like I do the laundry and then it's clean and then I dump it on my closet floor. The thing that is the most difficult, you know how like you have like certain underwear that's like the most comfortable, you know, or like socks. Finding a pair of, I don't even care if they're like exactly matching. Like I have like, you know, packs of socks where like the Nike check mark is a different color, you know, just like it has to be the same kind of sock. But that like I get mad at myself. I'm like, this would just be so much easier if I just put it away so I can just grab it when I need it instead of digging through my pile to find like, because and then I pull out one Under Armour sock, one Nike sock. I'm like, this won't do. So then I spend like 5 whole minutes like, digging through my stuff, and it's my fault. And then I don't put it away anyway.
You still keep doing it.
What did you say, Brooke?
That you still keep doing it.
Yeah.
The same stuff, yeah.
A while back, I threw away like all my socks, and I just bought Puma socks because for that reason, I got so sick of trying to match up socks. But my daughter has a bunch of random ones, and then I went to buy more Puma socks. They didn't make them, like they didn't have them. So then I got like these Avia ones, which I really like, but destroyed my whole method of having the same socks. So I have to worry about them matching.
Yeah.
I hate doing laundry so much.
I recently, like I got these like seamless thongs from Amazon that are like, they're like a little bit high-waisted, so they look good with like all like the line doesn't show with like my seamless shorts or whatever, because it's like high enough that it like hits the same place, and they're so comfortable. And I had like 8 pairs of them, and I literally ordered more just because I got sick of trying to find them. And I was like, if there's more chance I'll find them.
I think I have those same ones. I love them. A bird nest just flew down. Oh. Out my window in the trees, and a nest just fell. Hopefully nobody was in it. Oh, sorry, Brooke. Immediately just sorry, Brooke. She is so
I know.
Loves birds or something.
I'm sensitive to like every animal.
every animal.
So, crazy.
Well, let us know if they're okay.
I don't know. I'll go check the nest is on. It was a huge, maybe it could have been a squirrel's nest though. It looked very fluffy, almost like a tumbleweed.
Do squirrels have this?
Squirrels have nests. Mm-hmm.
If you say so.
You know what's funny is that this is just sort of random, but so one of the bunny accounts that I follow, they brush out all the bunny hair and then they put it in this little cage and hung it outside, and then like birds and stuff would pick the bunny hair out to use for nests.
Oh,
Just
I totally believe that. Whenever I shave my dogs, I go outside and I just throw their hair outside.
Yeah. And then all the other animals are like, ooh, bedding.
Yep.
So
could
cool.
collect Maverick's hair and build another dog.
Yes.
Yep.
That's one of the hard things too, is we have wood floor, so and a vacuum, so it's like really easy, but like sometimes Rachel texts me, she's like, can you vacuum? And like I mean like she did it today, which was like, thank you, you know, because I know it's summer and he's shedding so much. and it's just like never ending. Like how? Like I know I shed a lot, but damn. It's like I tried to keep him out of my closet so that at least like my clothes don't have hair on it, but because I like dump my clothes on the floor now and like can't shut the closet door, he's like in there and it's everywhere. And
Melissa, you have given everyone just like the perfect perception of what prep is like right now with this today.
it is what it is. This is the reality, people.
She's like, I don't give a shit about anything. We're just surviving at this point.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to, what do you guys need? Like a house cleaner, maybe?
You want a job?
I personally have a job, but there's a lot of people. The people that were supposed to be flying Brooke's airplane could come cleaner.
I don't trust them to show up.
Nope. Oh, that's amazing. All right, you guys, you got anything else?
Nope.
Nope.
Happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
Happy Memorial Day.
God bless the USA.
Yeah.
Very thankful for all of those who gave their lives for our freedom. We are so grateful for this country. Yeah. Melissa, we're going to be watching you. We're so excited for you. You're going to kill it.
Yeah.
In Puerto Rico. Yeah. You're going to kill it.
Yeah, awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Excited.
Yep. One day at a time.
Only for that Olympia qualification.
Woo! You got this.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be awesome. All right. Ladies, have the best day.
Yes, you too.
Cheers.
I'll yeah. I was gonna say something, but we'll wait till we're done. Oh, hey, you guys, you can find this on my YouTube, Buffcake22. You can find us on Instagram at The Woman's Fittest. You can find Brooke at Walker Fitness, and Maverick. It's so cute. Melissa's on Instagram at Melissa Brodsky, and I'm on Instagram at Buffcake22. And remember that healthy looks different on everybody. Have a great day.